Hello, my name is Kublai and this is the third part of this series to install the LAMP stack in a Mac environment for professional development. Okay, in our last session we saw how to install PHP and the Apache system. Let's see how this is working. I will clear this console, just put the cursor up and let's see what we have. Right now we have this installed, homebrew services list, and as you will see we have two services already running: HTTPD for Apache and PHP for the installation that we have for our server. Let's install the next one. The next component of this stack is MySQL. In order to install this, you can use brew search first, search MySQL to see what kind of options do we have to install MySQL. If you run that command, you will see all the packages related with MySQL. And as you can see here, we have different versions of MySQL. We can install versions from 5.5 to 5.7. But this one, MySQL only, we don't know which version is this one. Okay, to get more information about a specific package here, a specific formula, you can run brew info and the name of the package. Let's say MySQL, for example, only MySQL. And in that context, you will see that the version for this formula is 8.0. Let's run this just to check it out for another version. Let's say, for example, 5.7, and we will get that the version is 5.7.25. So in our case, what we need is I will install the last version. To do that, I can run, I will clear this just for you to see this more clearly, and I will install brew install brew install MySQL. This will take some time because I'm doing this just with you, so this takes more or less like 5 minutes. In my case, I installed this before, so I have all the packages inside my disk. That's why it's going so fast, but in your case you will need to wait a little bit more. In any case, you have your installation here in user local seller. All your software, all your packages will be always inside user local seller. In this case, if we go to this, if we move ourselves to this directory, let's do that, we will see that our installation is here. Here is our MySQL. Okay, perfect, it's working. Let's start MySQL now. How we can do that? Usually what we need to do with MySQL is to run this as a service in the system. So to install this as a service in the system, we need to do the same thing that we did for Apache. Brew services start MySQL, and we will start. Well, it's already started. Let's check it out. Brew services list. Oh, okay, MySQL is here. It's started and it's working. Well, and that's it. We have MySQL installed, and in my case, I can get into MySQL, same MySQL-u root -p to insert the password. I have a password for this installation, and I have my console in MySQL. I'm not going to tell you or to show you how you have to work with MySQL. This is not the goal of this tutorial. It's just to show you how to install MySQL and a specific version of MySQL in your system. So let's get out from here. We'll clear this, and now we are going to touch the next step in this process. And the thing is how we can configure virtual hosts in this kind of stack. Let's go to user local, if I'm not wrong it's etc. Yeah, here it is. Here is the directory where all the configurations for our Apache are stored. Let's go there. If we list what we have here, you will see these files. This one is your main configuration file for your Apache installation. Let's get into that file, and you will see that it's a pretty big file. Please check that you are answering in this port, usually in the line 52. You need to change this to 80. If you have this to 80, just change it to 80. And as you can see here, here is where you will enable or disable the modules that you want to work with in your Apache installation. Okay, I have a lot of stuff there, and well, as you can see here, the other part, important part here, sorry, is the user for Apache and the group of Apache. It's good to know what user uh, is part of this Apache installation, because with this user Apache will run, and with this group too. Let's go forward, and we have more, a little bit more information about the general installation. And here you have the default directory to answer your HTTP requests. As you can see, we are answering in this directory, user local var www. That's the default configuration. You have inside this section a couple of lines. One is saying option indexes follow symlinks. Again, this is not an Apache tutorial. I will not tell you what this is doing. Anyway, this indexes will show you the content of your files inside the directory. If you are not, if you don't have an index PHP or an index HTML file, and follow symlinks will do exactly that. Will follow your symlinks if you have some symlink in your directory. Allow override all. All these directories. This is aligned to allow all directories to be rewritten inside your HTTP access file. As you can see here, allow override all controls and directives in my placed by .htt access files. It's a way to move the configuration inside your directory, in this case this directory, to tell Apache, to give Apache some more information about your installation or your options for Apache. And who can get stuff from the server? I mean, this is mainly how we are going to answer, and we all granted. That means that everybody is allowed to get into this host. Okay, that's it. Let's see what else. This is important. You have to add this file, these 3 lines. If you don't have these lines, just check it out, the file match for PHP. In these lines we are saying that all the PHP files will be managed by our Apache installation. And these other lines, quite important, we are saying that our first option to run inside our directory will be index.php, and our second option will be index.html. If you don't have an index.php file, Apache will search for an index.html, and if you don't have an index.html either, Apache will show you the directory of that specific location. Okay, what else? Let's see here. This is the debug level, modules, and at the end, usually at the end of the file, you will see that you have more configuration. That's the line that we are interested in, is the virtual host, where we need to define our virtual host, and that's in this file. inside httpd extra httpd dash vhosts. Okay, let's go to this file. Then we will right click here, and here if you check this out, we have this extra directory. Let's get into extra, and here we have all the configurations that we need to touch. We have two files here, and that are the core files for the virtual host configuration. One of them is http ssl-conf for all the virtual host related with SSL communications. SSL is the file that will configure how we are answering to HTTPS connections, and the other one will be what it is, the info manual, info mp http vhost. This one, http vhost conf, is the configuration file to answer on the port 80, and this one is the answer for is the configuration to listen in the port 443. Let's go first with this one. If you are working with software development, usually you would like to install all your systems with SSL, I mean encrypted communication with digital certificates, and nothing through the port 80 by default. But anyway, you need to set up that answer and redirect those connections to this other file. Let's check this one first. HTTP host. Okay, let's do that. I don't know, maybe here we will need no special permissions. This is my environment, so vi httpd virtual host configuration. Here you have one in your case you will have just one example. This is the example that you need to take this piece of code and duplicate the piece of code for all your domains. In this case, the first domain that I'm configuring is this one, tc24, is for an old client that I used to have, and in my case I'm configuring this with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 lines. This is the usual stuff, you don't need more, and with this kind of configuration you will get all that you need to answer in this port for this kind of connection, tc24.com. I will show you this now. Okay, let's go to tc24.com. You will see that nothing changes. It's not secure. It's a not secure connection. We are answering on the port 80 in this case, and we have a PHP info here. Nothing more. Like it's only this PHP info connection that we have here. Let's see where is this in our disk. If I open this, I have a shortcut to the vhosts file. Maybe this is not so clear for you, so let's go using another terminal for you to see where it is really. You will see that if I open a new terminal here, I need to move to this location, user local var www vhost. That's the way that I like to do this. So cd user, you can do whatever you want. It's up to you, but you need to be consistent with your configuration. This configuration is always under user local, should be there, and the normal path for Apache is var www, but after that usually I used to create a directory virtual hosts, and inside that directory all the virtual hosts that I want to run in my development environment. In this case, we were saying that this one is the one that we are configuring here, as you can see here. Okay, let's get into to see what we have. cd tc24, and here you see that I have two directories. The first directory is for the HTTP docs, all the HTTP related stuff. If you are working with Laravel, like in this case, you will see that I have HTTP docs, and after that public, because public is the part that is exposed in this port. But inside HTTP docs, you have all your PHP code is Laravel related configuration. It doesn't matter right now, just for you to know that in this directory, HTTP docs public will be all your HTML information. So let's get into cd HTTP docs and public, and here is all the data that we are exposing to the port 80. And as you can see here, the file index.php, if I say cat index.php, this is the PHP info instruction that we are seeing in this screen. And that's it. We are configuring an HTTP domain in this URL. But how our machine knows that our local host should answer to this URL? In order to do that, I'm installing GasMask. I installed already GasMask. You can download this from GitHub. Install GasMask and open this show editor. You can get all your correspondences from your IPs and your system. In my case, I added some line like this one, and tc24.com. That's all that you need to enable this configuration. I have this configuration in this other environment. It's my dev environment, and you can have different environments in GasMask. So that's all that you need to do in order to get this virtual host working. One detail here, I showed how to configure an HTTP in the port 80. But what happens if what you need to do is work with HTTPS? If that's the case, you don't need this kind of template like I showed now with these 6 lines of code. What you need is this kind of template, just 4 lines of code to define a virtual host to redirect all the traffic, incoming traffic to the port 80 to the HTTPS configuration. And we are doing that with this line. It's a permanent redirection. That means that all the incoming connections to the port 80 should be redirected to this URL. So let's check it out now, how we can configure an HTTPS connection. Let's get out from here, quit, and now we need to check the other file, is this one. If we edit that file, http hosts SSL host configuration, http SSL conf, okay, it's this one. In this file, I'm going to the end because that's where I am configuring all my virtual hosts, and I said you before I will show you the same file. This is for another project that I'm working with, and you can see here that this configuration is what it's really working in that case. You have to define all your virtual host here with your server name, your document root. In this case, I'm responding in this directory, at the log level of your debugging, where you want to store your log information, and where you want to store your access log to. Beside that, the only thing that you need to do, and that will be part of the last chapter in this series, will be how to configure a security environment to use actually certificates in our own environment. Okay, that's all for now. I see you in the next episode. Thank you.